Just when you think you've seen everything JoJo has to offer, Kira's father tries to make Legolas from Lord of the Rings become a stand user, but because he's an alien, it doesn't work, and he already has powers, and he's out of this world. He has a spaceship in the sky, he's in a crop circle. Josuke and Okuyasu find him, they all think it's a funny gag, and it turns into a bizarre adventure with an alien. Why not? This is JoJo, right? This episode is really funny. Starting off, when we see Josuke and Okuyasu find him in a crop circle, and they're laughing their ass off, thinking it's so funny that this guy's pretending to be an alien. It's an elaborate prank. And from their perspective, yeah, it makes sense. Like, man, this guy's a jokester. You know, he's making this elaborate plan. He must have stayed up all night making this crop circle. And then he just gets weirder and weirder with it, even eating a tissue. And they're just like, okay, we gotta get the hell out of here. But this guy has a bag that he has a ridiculous amount of shit inside of it. It must be like a TARDIS from like Doctor Who. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, because he just keeps pulling shit out of it. I mean, he even has ice cream that didn't melt somehow. It's in this plastic, so it must be some, you know, alien insulation there. And he gives him the ice cream because the ice cream store is closed on the Monday. And Okuyasu is just like, all right, we have to throw hands because this guy's a stand user guaranteed. But just seeing that interaction was hilarious, because Okuyasu, he thinks with his fist, not with his mind ever, so he's just always wanting to throw hands at everyone who he just has a weird suspicion about. And sometimes it works in his favor, but here I'm just thinking, dude, this guy's an alien, you gotta back off, because who knows what kind of crazy shit he could do. And to see him just go insane when a siren goes off, because in his world, apparently sirens mix with their nerves and they're actually allergic to it. So he turns into like a tentacle-like beast and then just says, you know what, Josuke, you gotta get me the hell out of here, and turns into running shoes to then let Josuke fly away. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I thought I've seen everything JoJo could throw at me. You know, we've had some weird stands, but it literally throws an alien who doesn't have a stand as far as we know so far, though when it did cut to the title screen there, it did say he had a stand, but because he's an alien, it doesn't look like he has a stand, because when he saw Josuke's stand, he didn't respond to it. But more than likely, because Kira's father's arrow did pierce him, he probably does have a stand in some way, even if he is alien. We'll have to wait and see what he actually does, if he does get a stand. But I mean, the guy's already has the ability to turn into anything as long as it's not like high-tech machinery or anything more powerful than him. So like, could you imagine if he got like a Dio level stand on top of that? That dude would be the final villain for the series in general, not just part 4. But this episode was really good. For being a very simple concept, bringing an alien into this world, it executed the comedy very well. It did make me laugh out loud a ton, but when it threw a really good joke, like Okuyasu and Josuke talking to him in the crop field, or him pulling out the ice cream, or Josuke at the end conning Rohan into playing dice with the alien as a dice, it had good moments. It had very good comedy moments throughout the episode. I just love how there's an out-of-this-world con artist now. Josuke, being the con artist he is, puts him into a die, and then not only does he put him into a die, he sneaks into Rohan's house to put the die inside because he knows Rohan won't trust the dice he brings. It's just so elaborate but stupid all at the same time. And Rohan, because he keeps losing a mass amount of money because this alien doesn't know how to hold back, is getting more suspicious and more pissed off. So how is next week going to play out? Because I don't see Josuke keeping the money. I feel like everything's going to backfire on him. I mean, look at what happened when Joseph spent all his money on the baby, right? He always loses the money somehow in some way. It's just a matter of how. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if, you know, the alien needs the money because his ship needs to be repaired or something stupid like that. This is JoJo, it does some crazy shit, and that's why I like it. I will say, though, the actual facial designs this episode were a little lackluster in a lot of ways. Like, even in close-up or medium shots, it just felt like there was a lot less detail this episode. It wasn't anything majorly bad, but it was just enough to be a little like, okay, I wonder what's going on here. But then again, we are in the third core now, so it's kind of to be expected. But we did get the new opening now, and I have to say, it was a pretty good opening. I would say it's not as enjoyable as the previous opening for me, but I do enjoy it better than the first one. It's pretty catchy and pretty bizarre, to say the least. But another thing that was really cool this episode is seeing Kira's new wife, because he did take over this man's body when he got the face, so he probably killed him somewhere. And this woman is just so in awe of him because he's actually interesting and wild, unlike her husband, or her previous husband, even though, you know, Kira did take his face. So he has this like urge that when his nails start growing, he needs to like latch onto his murderous intent, and his wife is just like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed now, and she's taking off, and then he goes and just rips her shit off, and she's freaking out, or at least he thinks she's gonna freak out, but she's actually just like, he's so wild, I don't know what's gotten into him, this is amazing, and she's just all hot and bothered for, you know, her new husband because he's changed so much, because it is Kira now, and not the guy she was with for all these years. I love that so much. I'm still expecting her to become a stan user. Like, I feel like that would just be the wildest thing ever. But I mean, I kind of hope Kira does tell her everything about himself, because I just want to see that, because I feel like she'd get even more madly in love with him if that was to happen. It's a really interesting dynamic, and though we haven't seen a lot of it so far, it's entertaining every time we see her interact with Kira, because she's just so hot and bothered by him. The episode itself was bizarre. That's the easiest way to say it. It was totally bizarre and a wild adventure, and I'm interested to see what happens with the next part, because Rohan is gonna either kick Josuke's ass, or he's gonna pay up, and then Josuke is gonna lose it somehow. I don't know, this was a weird episode. I loved it a lot. The art definitely suffered a lot throughout the episode, however, the comedy was really good, and it's just, it wasn't like JoJo was feeling burnt out with, you know, anything. It didn't feel repetitive, but having an alien-focused episode was really just a breath of fresh air, and I enjoyed it for that. But what did you guys think of this weird adventure? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, hit that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.